This is Venture Capital Radio with Shannon Pearson on AM 650.
And I'm very excited to have back in the studio with me Huldra Silver, and you can learn more about them at huldrasilver.com. They trade on HDA on the Venture Exchange, and Ryan Sharp, the president and director of the company, is with me today in the studio. Thank you for joining me, Ryan.
Thank you, Shannon, for having me back.
Well, I want to congratulate you because I understand that you have just been granted British Columbia Mines Act permits for the mining of ore at Treasure Mountain and for the construction and operation of a processing facility in Merritt.
Yes, this is a major milestone for the company. I've been working on this for the more than 2 years I've been at the company, and it's been in process for approximately 5 years, and that allows us to move forward and go from an exploration and development company to being a producer.
Well, and it is very exciting news, and I'm sure shareholders are very excited to hear about it. But I want to talk a little bit more about Huldra Silver on whole. So congratulations for that. And moving forward, let's just start talking about the company being a company that explores and develops high-grade silver deposits. And you're here local in BC?
Yes, we are.
So again, huldrasilver.com to look a little bit more into the company. But let's recap, because when you were first here, we talked a little bit more about your background. So I kind of want to explain to everybody that you do have a diverse background, and it's pretty impressive because you were running an environmental contracting company.
Yes.
Left that while doing your MBA and went into the retail brokerage community.
Yep.
And you worked there for quite some time, about 7 years, was it?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went to the other side of the desk, raising money for public companies, which ultimately introduced you to Huldra.
Yes, yeah. I was aware of Huldra Silver when I was a retail broker, and I thought it would be a good opportunity sometime down the road, and the opportunity presented itself.
And that was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was officially, I started working with the company in February 2010.
Okay. So can you bring us up to speed with where Huldra's at right now?
Huldra is, we're currently under a bulk sample permit, been underground mining at the Treasure Mountain property, which is 2.5 hours approximately east of Vancouver, BC. We've been doing extensive exploration and development work over the past essentially a year. We did some exploration 2 years ago. And so the mine is basically fully developed. Most of the development took place in the 80s. There was 2,750 meters of development in place. Currently that stands at about 3,500 meters of underground development. And we have completed the bulk sample of 10,000 tons out of there, and we're positioning ourselves to continue mining more ore.
And that's the Treasure Mountain specifically?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of your flagship property that presents all the opportunity in blue sky?
No, not necessarily. The Treasure Mountain property was a mine that we decided that we weren't going to put a mill on the property. So last year we acquired the former Craigmont Mines Limited, which was a large copper producer between 62 and 82. And since 86 they've been recovering magnetite from the tailings. The property itself is almost 9,000 hectares with a closed copper mine on it and copper exploration opportunities on the property, as well as a 280-acre tailings facility where we are currently constructing our mill.
Okay, so there's a lot more going on
than just one silver mine. The company has a good opportunity for growth.
Okay, excellent. So May 7th, you put out a news release specifically on Treasure Mountain. So
yes.
I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's looking extremely promising.
Yeah, the part of what we started last year, along with the development of the mining, was to resample a lot of the underground areas as well as a surface drill program that was previously disclosed. And the latest results are sort of, we'd already published the results from the first level of the mine up to the surface, and these latest results are from the second level up to the first level. And there were some very encouraging results. The best results actually came off of a subdrift between those levels and off strike of the main vein, sort of a 5-meter offset, almost a parallel vein system, where we sampled up to 8,700 grams a ton over 0.34 meters. So, people would say that's a narrow width, but that's 8.7 kilograms of silver over 0.34 meters. And we typically mine 1.2 to 1.5 meters. So on an equivalent basis, you're still mining silver pretty close to 2 kilos.
And am I understanding you correctly that it was an offshoot, so it was somewhat unexpected?
Yeah, it was something that the miners had driven in '88, but it really hadn't been explored much. And we just basically went in on a resampling program, and we've been remapping the vein system to confirm that it's sort of off strike. So there's still some more work to do to develop there to move it forward, but it's exciting that there's these results are continuing beyond the ones we've already got on the first level of the mine, and there's this summer we will be doing a much more extensive exploration program underground on level 2, which will include drifting on the veins as well as underground drilling to try to continue to map the system out.
Okay, and let's touch on these levels. Just for people that don't talk to geologists very often or people that are in the business. In the news release, it references 4 levels.
Yeah.
So this result is from the second level.
Yeah, this is an underground mine with basically 4 adits or portals. For those that don't understand mining, it's basically tunnels going into a mountain. Those tunnels are developed on different levels over a vertical strike of 295 meters, and they're mostly placed about 55 meters apart, except for the 4th level, which is extensively lower. So it's essentially you're going into the mountain, following a vein system over a vertical strike, so each tunnel is a different level.
And how long does it take to go through the process of getting a news release like this out? So you've done level 1, now you're into level 2.
The sampling, this type of sampling can take a number of weeks to do the mapping and sampling on it, and then it has to go to a lab for analysis and back to us for interpretation and then out for review. So under the regulations of as soon as we have compiled the results, we have an obligation to get them out as soon as possible. But to get to that point can take a considerable amount of time.
And, the reason I ask is there's 4 opportunities to see news releases like this one, which is extremely positive.
Oh, there's more than that. As we go through the different levels of the mine, from this level alone, we now have to do additional drifting and drilling from this level. So this isn't complete results for this level. This is just interim results of what we have today, and then we have to continue developing the level. So the next results that we put out from the underground will again be from this level.
You're listening to Venture Capital Radio on AM 650, and I am talking to the president and director of Huldra Silver, and you can learn more about them at huldrasilver.com. That's HULDRA silver.com. So, Ryan, we've touched on the news release from May 7th. We have the background of the company. You're looking for silver, and the results are starting to show very, very promising. So one of the things that comes to mind for me in mining is the environmental aspect of it. You have a lot of activity going on the property. There's always that consciousness that comes up in conversation with mining companies. Is there anything that Huldra is doing that really sets you apart from other mining companies out there to make sure that the environmental impact is minimal?
Yeah, when we started designing the mine itself and the mill itself, the environment was a paramount concern for both moral reasons, I guess you would call them, and personal reasons. I mean, this has got my name all over it, and I'm the one that is responsible for anything that happens.
Yes.
So a few of the things we've done is the mine itself is an underground mine, so the surface impact is very minimal to the environment. The mine was previously developed. We have a reclamation plan in place that basically requires us to return the mine back to long before it looked in 1892 when people first stepped on the property. And the specifics that let us stand out apart is one of the things we're doing on the mine property is we're completely recycling any water that comes out of the underground. And on closure, we're trying to limit any water seepage out of the mine completely in our reclamation plan. So in terms of people concerned about rivers and waterways getting contaminated by mining activities, we have a very clean ore and a very clean, basically we don't produce a lot of contaminants, but even with that in mind, we still recycle pretty much 100% of the water we use on the property.
That's impressive, because I don't find that as common as it should be.
I mean, every mine's got its specific instances. I mean, it's just a decision we made because the scalability of the mine too is one of the things that allows us to put these things in place, and the possible economics of the mine allow us to take some steps that some people may not be able to. And then on the mill property itself, we put a similar philosophy in place when we designed the mill. We are currently on the mill, all the water used in processing comes from either the previous underground copper mine, so basically diverting water that was outflowing from the copper mine that we got there, or essentially it comes from rainwater. We collect all the rainwater on the processing site and reuse that in the processing. So we do not discharge any water to the environment on the mill site either. And we have, I believe it's approximately 9 monitoring wells that verify that for us. And on top of, one of the things we've done is we've put a completely fully lined tailings pond into the property, so the tailings, there's no runoff from the tailings either, and all the water that goes into the tailings gets recycled back through the mill. So it's a little different than some mines. It's sort of the optimum of what you can do, and in some mines and in some cases it can't be done, but it was just a choice we made, and we had the opportunity to do it. So
well, and you're here local in BC, so that's that much more impressive, because the home base is really important. So it's nice to hear that you're taking care of our province. Moving forward with the company, I know that there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of potential moving forward. Is there anything that you can tell us to look forward to at this point? And
well, I think the focus of the company right now is obviously in the environment we're in. Is just the focus of the company is to start producing revenue and cash flow.
Okay.
And then once we are in the position of building up our cash base, that we have a lot of sort of expansion opportunities out there that we haven't addressed yet.
Well, and like I said earlier, there's it's not just that you have a property and you're mining for silver. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of potential with what you have, but also a lot of potential to grow and expand as a company.
Yeah, and I think the current market's going to give us lots of opportunities to grow rapidly.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you coming and giving us an update. And we're going to talk again in a little while. And in the meantime, I wish you well out there, huldrasilver.com. There's a lot going on there. You can learn about them at their website, huldrasilver.com, or you can contact them directly through their website.
Thank you, Shannon.
Canada's only weekly radio show on venture capital. This is Venture Capital Radio with Shannon Pearson on AM 650.